Hello everybody, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. I hope everyone is doing well. Just a friendly warning, there is a full moon about to come up, and I think it is Saturday. Today is Tuesday, and it will be a full moon in Gemini around 11 p.m. this Saturday. So energies will be intensified. And as we know, astrotheology and the zodiac and all that stuff is pretty important symbolism when it comes to the Bible. And the last video I did, we went over chapters, I think, 2 and 3 in Genesis. Yes, the first video was only chapter 1. The Holy Bible, part 2, went over chapters 2 and 3. And then this is part 3. I've been having fun doing this. I'm just going through the Holy Bible and reading the verses and kind of nitpicking it and reading in between the lines. So let's go ahead and just jump right into chapter 4. Genesis chapter 4. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain. So Adam knew Eve, his wife. So obviously they reproduced, they had sex, and in the Bible, I think it's interesting that at least in the King James Version, it's how they refer to this as Adam knew his wife. So when you have that sacred connection with somebody, you know them. That's how it would have been referred to in the Bible. And I'm not going to get into right now the significances of the sexual energy and stuff and how that's such a sacred thing. And I've talked about it in some previous videos, I think. I've talked about it more on Facebook, but the idea that memory not only exists in the mind, it exists in the body. So when we share that energy with others, we take on those energies, and we also give them to other people too. It's a mutual process that takes place when you share those energies on that level. That's pretty much all I'm going to say on it right now. I'm not going to get into that too much. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived, had a child, and bare Cain. So Cain was the first son, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Not a baby, not a boy, a man. That's interesting. Okay. Verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel. So Abel, most of us know the story of Cain and Abel, and we're about to read through it right now. I didn't remember that Cain was the first brother, so Abel's actually the younger brother. I couldn't remember if that was the case or not. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And as we get in later, we find out that like Tubal-Cain, that goes all the way back to Cain's lineage. And such, and I think that's kind of referenced or thrown in there in the name, of course, Tubal-Cain. We'll come across that later. And he was the artificer of metals. And in process of time, verse 3, and in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. So it seems that Cain, I don't know if he harvested fruit or if he just found fruit and he brought it as the offering unto the Lord. And in the Old Testament, we have this idea of God is more of like this external thing, and you have to bring offerings to God. And a lot of people who are church people or whatever, they're really like, oh, the New Testament just, overrides that. Like the Old Testament rules don't apply, but the silly way that we portray the rules does apply. It kind of works in that strange, way where it's a lot of guilty type energy, and they're not really teaching you the deeper, truer meanings without the stigmas of what people have come to associate with religion with and such. So Cain brought the fruit of the ground. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. So the Lord had respect for Abel's offering, but not for Cain's offering. Cain brought fruit of the ground, and Abel brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. So I don't know if that means, and there's this idea of the innocent lamb, it says he was a keeper of sheep. So I don't know if this means the firstlings of his flock. This must be like the first, either I don't know if it would be the original sheep that he had, or if it was the firstborn of the sheep that he had in his flock. It doesn't really say there. But this whole idea of innocence being laid before the Lord, the lamb coming before the Lord, and we see this here. Abel brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof, and the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Verse 5, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. I'm assuming that means that Cain became upset, which would make sense. Countenance, I don't really remember what the definition of countenance is. I usually look up definitions on my phone, but we're recording a video right now, so I don't think that's going to work too well. But we can understand through context. That's how I understand a lot of things when I read them, is I may not know what the definition of every word is, but through the context of reading it and what the other subject matter in the sentence, you can usually come to some kind of understanding of what the word may mean or what they're directing it towards. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? There that is again, countenance. I'm going to have to look up that definition now. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? So if you do well, he's saying, well, should you not be accepted? And if thou does not well, sin lieth at the door. So if you do well, if thou dost well, shalt thou not be accepted? So if you do good, there's no reason you shouldn't be accepted. And if thou does not well, sin lieth at the door. That's interesting. So if you don't do well, sin is right there waiting for you. So maybe that means that you have to stay on, you have to stay on top of things.